Hi there, this is Jeanette and welcome to day 5 of my Christmas series for 2017. Today features a December daily insert that I created using some digital paper as well as a digital image and sentiment from WHIMSY, and that snowflake you see in the corner was made with a metal die from WHIMSY. So this is mostly showing you how I colored up the penguin. We'll get right to it. This was printed off on Neenah cardstock, and I had merged the pattern paper. I merged 2 of the papers together and then sized my penguin to sort of fit right across the bottom edge of the paper. So for my coloring, I'm using some neutral grays to color up the penguin, and I'm coloring section by section. I'm starting with my darker color just so that I can really gauge where I'm putting the highlight on the penguin. This really brings it to life if you leave a nice sort of highlight in the middle of each little section, and you'll see as I progress what I mean by that. So as we're going with the coloring, I'm just going to share, you might have noticed that I was absent and that videos kind of stopped for a few weeks, and that was because we had a fire in our basement. We were very lucky that our smoke detector went off. It was working. Really important, check your smoke detector, because we were fast asleep when this happened. So we were awoken by the smoke detector. The firemen came right away. We were lucky. It was our sub pump in the basement, and a water pipe burst and put out the fire. So we didn't have a lot of fire damage. We didn't have any water damage per se because the firemen didn't have to use their hoses. We did have soot damage in our basement. So that has been sort of a epic journey of, you know, getting everything sorted with the insurance and the people that come clean. Amazing people, I have to say. So as we speak now, that has all sort of been boxed and taken away so they can clean it all up. They are very optimistic that we are really not going to lose anything because we had minimal damage. So I just wanted to share that with you. I know this is a Christmas video. I know maybe you might watch this like 2 years from now. But for those of you that do follow me and have maybe wondered where I've been, that's kind of the story. So check your smoke detectors, guys. It's really important. So we'll get right back into the coloration. You see that I'm still sort of touching up areas and making sure that I've got my contrast there. I'm going to color this little part now that's beside the arm, and I'm going to create again just a little bit of a highlight there. I find it easier with my grays when I'm coloring little animals to start with my darker color. Actually, I usually start with my lighter color, but this way I can really get a very strong highlight and a contrast. Now, because the arm and that body are sort of merging together, I'm taking my colorless blender and I'm just running it along the outside edge of his arm and creating a little bit of a highlight there. So there's going to be a little bit of a contrast to make a definition between where his arm is lying on top of the body. I'm going to work on the other side, and again, just the same thing, adding my colors. They've been listed. They were listed right at the beginning there. They've been listed in order of use. So I use them and then I work backwards. I'm going to do his little, I guess it's not really a hand. Is it a flipper, I guess? Is that what penguins have? Anyways, I'm going to be doing that. Again, being mindful to leave some areas where I can have a nice sharp contrast. Also helps if your markers are really, what I like to say, juicy, like they're very full of ink, you know. When your markers get dry, it becomes harder to blend easily. So if you're having problems with blending, it may be time to get a refill and then fill up your marker. Now I'm going to be working like on his face and his belly, and I'm going to be using grays again, but now I'm using warm grays. So just a little something different. This is a little bit more brown, the gray, and just a little bit something different from the neutral gray that I used on his body. And I'm being really careful just to keep it to some very light shadows, very close to the edges of everything, because I do want to have his face and belly read that they're white. So I'm just being very gentle with my blending, trying not to add too much color, but making sure that all those rough, sort of harsh edges are blended out. Going to be working now on his beak. I'm using a different color combination than I usually do, and there are quite a few marker colors there. Don't be overwhelmed, and if you don't have all those colors, for sure, if you have the darker, the lighter, and then sort of one in the middle, you should be fine. Sometimes I tend to use, I just sort of play and use whatever I have. Again, I am going to be doing the sort of feet in a different sort of combination for me. I found this worked really well. Sometimes I color the beak and the feet the same color, but I decided for this penguin to change it up a little bit. So you can see that I'm working at creating the shadows, going back in with that darker color, and then blending out with the lighter color. I am really using a lot more and more, using more of these digital images from WHIMSY because they are so fast and you can create so many great scenes on your computer and then just print it up. They can be like perfectly personalized for you. On the bottom here, I've added a sentiment from WHIMSY, but you could add your own sentiment. You can just, use your own text, choose your own font if you would like. You could even, personalize the penguin hat. You could sort of put some text on it with a person's name. And although I have created a December daily page here, which is a 6x8 page, you could really size this a lot smaller and create a Christmas card, or you could size it even bigger and create some type of framed decoration for your home. So the possibilities are really endless, and I've been really loving all the penguin images that WHIMSY has been releasing. So I'm going to move now to the next little foot, and I've sped it up quite a bit. I don't know if it comes across, but this is sped up like 8 times. As fast as I usually color. So for all of you that sort of struggle to keep up, I do color a lot slower than it seems on the video. I do speed it up just so that my videos aren't like 2 hours long. It takes me a while to color. It's not as fast as it seems here, but it's something that I do at many sittings as well. I mean, I have a family that I'm taking care of. I can't sit for long periods of time to craft, so I will do this over the course of a day or two, and it's just sort of a nice welcoming little project to come back to when you have a little pocket of time. Just added some highlights there just to bring out the eyes. Now I'm going to be doing the cuff of his hat as well as the pom-pom. And I'm using a different technique. I call this the dot technique. And what it is I am creating the shadows right now with my darker marker, but by adding little dots everywhere. So where I want the folds to be, where I want the shadows to be, I've dotted with my dark marker. Then I take a lighter marker and I dot over those dots and a little bit beyond those dots. And what it ends up doing is creating a very soft, sort of fuzzy look to the hat. Now I'm going in with a lighter color and really dotting almost everywhere. So it kind of blends out, but you still have that nice texture that's there. I redid the eyes. I added some more white to the eyes, and now I'm going to do the pom-pom with the dot technique as well. And it's something that is really very forgiving. So you can play around with it, and it's always going to come out looking awesome. Just use 3 colors. Start with your darker marker, and the darker marker you will use less, and the dots will be smaller. And then as you progress to lighter markers, the dots can be a little bit more and a little bit bigger. Now I'm going to do the hat, and I wanted to create a really nice, bright, vivid pink hat. So I pulled out, you're going to see there's a ton of markers sort of lying across my desk here. I didn't use all of them. The ones that I use, I listed. I was just sort of playing around. I pulled out a red-violet color as well, and that really brightened up the red. I was really happy with how that looked. So I just went back in and created a little bit more shadow, and I'll go back in again after I use my colorless blender just to push some marker in. I'll go back in with that red-violet color and another red color and just really reinforce the shadows. For his cheeks, I'm using some Gamsol and a Prismacolor pencil, and I'm just softly adding some red to the cheeks. I like doing this because it creates a very soft sort of blush. It's different from the Copic markers, and I just find it's very soft, very delicate. After that was all done, I did cut it out to the 6x8 size, and then I pulled out some glitter cardstock here and these amazing metal dies from WHIMSY. They're Snowflake dies. I believe you get 2 or 3 in the set. So I cut the big one out, and then I just used a hole puncher and punched out some of that leftover sort of glitter paper to create some snow. I did that just like on a whim, and it really ended up looking really, really pretty. So I'm just going to adhere them. I'm using my quick stick tool to pick up the little snowflakes, and then I'm using my Zig glue pen to glue them all down. This is sort of the fastest way to glue tiny little components. And then I'll add the Zig glue. I'll dot it all over that snowflake. Put the snowflake in place. And once it's exactly where I want it, I sort of weigh it down with a mounting block. And basically that's it for my insert page. Once the glue is dry, it's all done. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this page. I hope it gives you a little bit of inspiration to create some penguin images for yourself. Take care of yourselves, guys, and I'll catch you soon, really soon, with the next video. A full list of supplies can be found below this video on YouTube, or you can go onto my blog for more information. Thanks so much for joining me.